Meeting to order, the February Budget Finance Committee meeting called to order. Any announcements? One thing that we'll need to do is on the agenda is to elect chair again for the Budget Finance. So we would like to continue that capacity if there's a will of the committee to continue that. So
motion for John to continue.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you guys very much for your confidence, and certainly appreciate your continued participation. And we have a good committee here, and I think we'll get a lot of things accomplished as a group. So thank you very much. And a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Moving on to R021521, a resolution authorizing the city controller to transfer funds. Again, just more or less moving things.
Yep.
I saw the general ledger sheet you had, moving some things around.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's probably some park stuff as they get ready to move into, their new space. Parks Department's gonna move around. So, yeah, just some pretty general things. So, yeah, fleet, new vehicle, which is always exciting, but total replacement for one of those. But yeah, just very, very basic, normal, day-to-day stuff.
Where Parks and Recreation?
Hub-and-Spoke.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know, has that been officially announced, I guess? I'm trying to think.
So, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna do so.
Yeah, they're gonna go over to the Hub and Spoke building and do some programming out of the maker space and some things like that. So they'll be, leaving their current home here in probably about 2 months, I think, is their timeline. So, and then,
Township building that we rent, and then
That-
we have to continue to rent, or we want to backfill.
that is a question I had. Beth had talked to Parks the other day, and I can't remember, and I'd have to dig out whether our lease with them is year to year or what it is, because I think they've been in there since I started, so I don't know if they're year to year or what they are, because I feel like we pay them all up front in one fell swoop, so we gotta look at that. But yeah, that's a small one, so. But yes, for those who didn't know, that's where, and then they'll be kind of close on the trail, run some things out of there, some programming out of there. All right.
The motion recommended for approval.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Moving on to resolutions, R021521A, request to approve the 2021 municipal equipment lease purchase.
So, only had 2 responses this year, which was kind of a low turnout for us, but regardless, we're, got 2 proposals, but we're going to make the recommendation go with Key Government Finance, 0.83% interest rate. So that will be, like free money almost. 0.83. Yeah. So, make an annual debt service payment for this loan of about $552,000. And there's obviously the police vehicles, the 18 police vehicles that we cycle through, replacement in this loan. I have the list from Tabitha, hold on. I was gonna run through what those are real quick, just in case to kind of refresh everybody's memory on those. So 18 police vehicles, a pumper fire truck, which I assume is a fire truck, full-size van, some mowers, a UTV, tandem axle dump truck, then like a backhoe, some salt spreaders, some mid-size SUVs, and some work trucks. So a lot of standard, as we've talked about at budget time, all replacement of current vehicles, not expansion of the fleet. But yeah, so 0.83%, you can't beat that. So we'll take that any day of the week.
Any questions for Lisa on this, on the 30th? Also, number 4. So a motion to recommend for approval for our council meeting. Motion by Cecilia, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Selena, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Moving on to regular items. Any other unfinished or new business?
I can talk about this a little bit as we've talked about, Tracy, I'm gonna say request control, so, see if this will come up for me too. So, talk a little bit about end of the year. So let's see if this will show, and again, I make things really small. So as we kind of sit and work on finishing out, yes, I thought I did, but I did not. Let me, how,
Next to the button, the little arrow.
yep. There you go. There we go. Okay. Is that good? Okay. So right now, this is kind of a rough draft of where we stand. So, up here, we have kind of where, right here is when we went in September, October, when we talked about the budget. Then, as of a few weeks ago, where we stand. So, as you can see, we're actually gonna be in a lot better shape than we initially even anticipated at the 2021 budget time. So we're estimating, so as you can see, a little bit less on the revenue estimate. Then we're a little off. Expenses, well, different than what we had initially anticipated. Then we're gonna encumber the remaining 25% for testing that were the CARES funds, and then carry some encumbrances, and then remove the rainy day back in health department funds. But roughly, if everything goes according to plan as we are right, kind of where we were on January, making us kind of an ending cash reserve about 17.3 million. We were initially saying 15.7 about budget time. So, just a really good way to end out the year. A lot of savings this year. So overall, in the midst of everything that's happened, been kind of a great end to the year. So then the bottom just kind of says, our policy, 50% of next year's property tax. Do you do gross of circuit breaker, or do you do net? And so those just, basically we're well over where we need to be, is the general moral of the story. So depending on which way you take it, we're either 2.8 to the good over what we need to have for cash reserves, or almost 4 million to the good if you account for the circuit breaker. So that kind of just wanted to give you a heads up on that one. Any questions? I went through that kind of fast, but wanted to.
I think it's good that we're of an age. I think we all remember the Great Recession. Everybody thinks 2009 and 10. It was really 2005 and 6 when jobs are getting a little bit soft, and the real estate market got a little bit soft. And if you're of a certain age, you probably don't know where houses always go up. They always sell quickly. That's not always the case.
Right.
And the good thing is we have a little bit of a barometer where you can kind of watch these things. So
Yeah.
I just kind of watch over the next couple of years is how our job's going. We get people back to work. If that doesn't, then it's going to have a softening effect on a lot of other things that eventually gets the municipal budget. So
Yeah, and I think that's, we are a very lagging indicator in municipal finance of where we stand. We're not the first one on the road to recovery. We're the last one to feel the effects, but we're also the last one to come out of everything else. So, like I said, just trying to, as we keep an eye, try to be kind of prudent as to where we stand. So just to give you a kind of heads up on that one. And then, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then I will also run this through a little bit. As we talk a little bit about health department stuff. So ignore lots of math. Kind of the number 370, about 378 at the end of the day, true health department expenses, incurred. Then I can't remember if we've talked in here about I can't remember if it was October or November, where the governor, through Indiana Finance Authority, gave additional funds out. So we had our initial 3 million allocation, and then we got about 10% more for like public safety orders. So, so that's contact tracing, clinics, things like that. Some of our campaigns, things like that. So we, were able to take advantage of getting our money also there. So of that 378, we get some things netted out for reimbursement. You get down to about 225,000. Within that 225,000, you've got some costs that are gonna still get moved out for the 75% match to FEMA. And then we actually did take in about $55,000 in just general permit, like fee revenue, once the health department actually got up and running, this year. So really, you end up with about $141,000 that the health department truly cost last year. Yeah. So, and this is exclusive because the testing was all covered with the original allocation from the state, our 25% match, and then we're going to run the 75% through FEMA. But again, that's another hot topic people like to ask about. So,
Is that kind of what that 1.85 number is?
yes.
Essentially came out, that was for testing, and then.
Yeah, and so then we're gonna, so that's what we're gonna end up putting back in. So maybe closer, we may keep 50,000 to give it some cushion, just to still 1.8 going back in. It's to the good. We did recently, can't remember if it was this week or last week, they announced, so as we've talked about in here pretty regularly, FEMA is a 75% grant. So basically you have to pony up 25%, they'll give you 75%. However, they have changed course with vaccinations. So for costs associated with vaccinations, they will reimburse 100%. So a lot of the initial setup for, our testing center, we're gonna try to run through FEMA at 100%. So, which is a pretty, cutting out that 25% does help a lot. So we'll be curious to see then too, the most recent bill that's coming up does have more direct relief again to state and local governments, especially cities over 50,000. So we'll see what makes it through there, but again, some more potential funds. So we'll get you, like I said, probably next finance committee, we can walk through the fiscal plan, but right now we're still kind of closing out encumbrances of the year, but wanted to give you guys an update on kind of those two key elements. So.
How much do we get a charge, we get reimbursed for vaccination?
So it depends. It's a 2-shot vaccine. I want to say $18 is sticking in my mind for the first dose. Then I want to say I can't remember if it's, I can't remember. I thought it was another, I can't remember. I actually think the second dose is higher, which is odd. So,
The one that does it, the first one.
yes.
So say body, something's gonna come.
Yes, I can't remember. I thought it was 27 or 28, but it's based on whether you are the 1-shot vaccination or the 2-shot. And so it's the first and then the second. So the question is, we've had I know Monica Health, our public health director, has been on some calls with the state. And so what we're in the process of is trying to figure out how do we basically run claims for all these people that we have vaccinated. Does that funding does the state, because you're supposed to collect insurance information, because then it's supposed to either go to your insurance or you go to that, but then we don't control the data, as I understand it, when you register for a vaccination. So if they choose not to put health insurance information, we can't do that. So then we got to have some recourse. So the question becomes, does the money come from the feds to the state, and then does the state hold a couple dollars back because you're using our information, our website to schedule these, and then pass it on to us? So a lot of things, but ideally you should, because it is, as you guys know, no one pays to get their vaccination, and you cannot charge. You can charge, there's the fees that they have set at a cap, you cannot charge more. You're supposed to recover it either from insurance or from, well, insurance, so Medicare, Medicaid, or your insurance company. But we are in the process of that one, which I know Tracy was intimately involved with the setup of scheduling lots of these things too. So it's, a lot of stuff still to come on some of that stuff as we work through what that looks like, what that entails. But you are supposed to get paid for administering the vaccination in some way, shape, or form. So, yep. So, other than that, that is all I have right now, so.
Anything else, from the members of the committee wanna, any issues they wanna talk about, or things they wanna discuss?
And I do owe you, kind of an update as to where we stand as we've looked at kind of our benefit plans and things like that. We're still looking into some of that stuff. We'll report back to you when we get a little bit more, info on that, but that is still ongoing, so hasn't been forgotten about. Give you guys that heads up.
So Clea and I are we're gonna meet with some folks as well,
Uh-huh.
talk about some other opportunities out there from a cost saving perspective, and we'll report back. We'll just decide we want to meet with these folks and see if there's some things that we can do to maybe bring some cost savings to the city. But obviously not comparing or, reducing any type of
Thanks.
benefits that are existing currently. So we're just trying to see if there's anything out there for us that might, save the city and our citizens some money. Perspective. Okay,
Makes sense, yeah.
anything else for the good and welfare? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So
All
moved.
right.
Second.
All right, all seconds, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
I printed